me start by giving you a clear picture of what the ESG Readiness Assessment actually includes, what it addresses, and why it has become the most practical first step for organizations that want to take ESG seriously without falling into the overwhelm that so often accompanies this subject. At its heart, our assessment is built on the core cross-sector questions that sit at the foundation of both Ecovardis and B Corp, the universal controls, policies, processes, and evidential expectations that every company must meet regardless of its size or sector. Instead of diving straight into a formal accreditation, paying the fees, completing the questionnaire, and then discovering during the audit that your documentation doesn't hold up to their standards or that you have far more gaps than you realized, our approach allows you to lay your foundations first. You're given the space, structure, and support to build the essential controls to the standards that these frameworks expect. And because the assessment mirrors the shared backbone of both Ecovardis and B Corp, you can be confident that what you put in place now will stand up to the scrutiny later and allow you to take either path. It's important to say that Ecovardis and B Corp will always add their own framework-specific questions when you eventually apply. They tailor each assessment to your company's size, location, sector, and operating model. But by completing our readiness assessment first, you remove the uncertainty from the early stages. You eliminate the guesswork and the fear of being caught out by missing evidence. You ensure that the fundamentals, the governance, ethics, environmental data, labor practices, supply chain controls, customer and data protections are not only in place, but that they are aligned with the audit standards of both frameworks. From that point, the additional questions each accreditation adds become far easier to tackle, because you're building on a strong, compliant, and well-structured foundation. And that's why the readiness assessment is intentionally designed as more than a diagnostic questionnaire. When you undertake it, you're stepping into a structured program that assesses your ESG maturity. It identifies the gaps that matter most and then gives you a personalized action plan that shows you exactly how to fix them. Instead of being handed a score and a list of problems, you receive a guided action plan, a clear, supportive plan that spells out what needs to be done, how to do it, and how to demonstrate real implementation inside of your business. It's a way of approaching ESG that replaces confusion with clarity, anxiety with confidence, and isolated effort with structured progress. You receive 3 core deliverables. First, a full ESG maturity assessment that looks at your entire organization and reveals where your foundations are strong, where they need development, and where critical improvements are required. Second, a tailored action plan that addresses every single requirement in the assessment. This isn't generic advice, it's a customized, practical set of instructions that shows you how to move from where you are now to the next maturity tier, one step at a time. Whether you need to write a missing policy, gather environmental data, or strengthen your HR processes, your action plan explains exactly how to do that. Third is a consultation with us. This is your chance to ask questions, to get clarity on anything that feels unfamiliar, and receive guidance to help you turn your action plan into real progress. It's support, not judgment, designed to make sure that you're not navigating this alone. All of this means that the readiness assessment isn't simply about highlighting what you don't have. It's about showing you what to build, how to build it, and how to build it in a way that naturally creates the evidence that you'll need later. And that journey is designed with all major ESG frameworks in mind. Because frameworks like Ecovardis and B Corp are rigorous, and rightly so. They don't just want to see a beautifully written policy. They want proof that the policy is being used. They expect implementation evidence, meeting minutes, onboarding processes, training logs, and KPI tracking. They look for signs that you've been living the commitments that you're describing, not just writing about them. What we do with that action plan is guide you through how to create that level of documentation. This is where so many organizations are falling down. They rush into a framework, they write a collection of new policies, they upload them with pride, and then realize that without the supporting evidence, the framework simply can't award any meaningful points. It's not unwillingness, it's an absence of proof. The readiness assessment closes that gap. It helps you create your policies and embed them. It guides you through capturing the data that you'll need later. It prepares you for the evidence requirements, the documentation expectations, and the improvement cycles that both of these frameworks are looking for. And by the time you're ready to apply for your tailored questionnaire, whether Ecovardis, B Corp, ISO standards, or procurement platforms like Avetta, Achilles, and SEDEX, you've already built the structure that will hold you up, and you'll be able to prove that you are ESG ready. The pace is yours to choose. Some companies move through their action plan rapidly, completing their improvements within a few weeks. Others choose to take several months, building steadily. Whichever pace you choose, the important thing is that you're not guessing anymore. You're building ESG foundations deliberately, correctly, and with confidence. Now that you understand what's included and why it matters, let's explore what the assessment actually covers. The Readiness Assessment spans the full breadth of ESG, environmental, social, and governance, but it does so in a way that feels structured, clear, and surprisingly logical. Instead of treating ESG as a huge and intimidating universe, we break it into 6 essential areas that together form the backbone of responsible business practice. These areas are structured much in the same way as both Ecovardis and B Corp. We begin with governance and strategy because strong ESG doesn't happen by accident. It happens through leadership. Here, we are looking at how your organization is guided, whether ESG appears in leadership conversations, whether responsibilities are assigned, whether your purpose and values reflect your commitment to people and the planet. We explore whether essential policies exist, whether you track any ESG data, and how you stay aligned with the laws and regulations that apply to you. This section is your organizational skeleton. Then we move into ethics, the conduct standards that protect both your people and your reputation. We explore whether you have expectations around bribery, whether conflicts of interest are declared, whether you provide a safe way for staff to speak up, and whether your business has any form of ethics training or record keeping. This section reveals whether your organization acts with integrity. From there, we look at environmental management, the starting point for any credible carbon strategy. We explore your environmental policy, the impacts you've identified, whether you track energy emissions, waste, or water, and whether you've set any early environmental targets or run any improvement initiatives, even an energy audit designed simply to save cost. Even simple steps matter here. Gathering a year of bills, noting your waste collection data, or identifying your largest impacts. This is where your carbon journey begins. Next comes the social heart of ESG, your people. We explore your labor and human rights commitments, your approach to pay, contracts, and working conditions, and your health and safety processes, your well-being support and approach to training and inclusion, and how you listen to and resolve employee concerns. This is where culture comes into focus. Where then we turn outward to your supply chain. This is where ESG often becomes most visible because so many risks and opportunities lie outside of your own four walls. We look at whether you assess suppliers' ESG practices, how you consider modern slavery and human rights, and how you onboard suppliers, and whether you consciously support ethical or diverse suppliers. This section strengthens both your compliance posture and your procurement strategy. And finally, we explore how your products and services affect others. We look at customer feedback, complaint handling, and the social environmental impact of what you sell. Your privacy and data protection controls are also vital. This includes cybersecurity, breach management, and the wider duty of care you hold. Across all 6 areas, we assess your maturity using a tiered system that goes far beyond the yes and no questions you've answered. At the earliest level, we're simply checking whether something exists, even informally. Then we look for documentation, then implementation of those documents, and finally, the audit readiness of that documentation. We translate that into a traffic light report. Red means you're just beginning in that control or question area. Amber means there's something there, but it does need strengthening. And green means your foundations are solid and can withstand scrutiny. Tier 4 sits just beyond green and involves a formal documentation audit, the stage where we confirm that what you believe you have in place truly stands up to evidence requirements. If you know which accreditation you're aiming for, be it Ecovardis, B Corp, or any other, we will have a consultant expert from that framework conduct your audit to ensure that you will pass the audit with those controls and evidence when the time comes. But again, the score isn't really the point. The action plan is the point. Once the assessment is complete, you don't simply receive a score and a polite summary of where the gaps are. You receive a tailored practical action plan built entirely around your responses. It's designed to meet you exactly where you are today and guide you step by practical step towards the next maturity tier for every question in the assessment. Each recommendation is grounded in the reality of your business, and each step acts as a small, achievable bridge between your current position and the standards expected by recognized ESG frameworks. For example, if you confirm that you don't yet have an anti-bribery policy, the first action won't leap straight into creating a formal and complex policy. Instead, we begin with the basics. Your initial task would be to put a simple written statement in place, a brief, clear declaration that your organization does not tolerate bribery or corruption. The action plan then walks you through shaping that statement into the beginnings of a formal policy, giving you the structure and language you need to show an early commitment and begin building evidence. Once you have that first building block, the next tier of actions focuses on turning that early draft into a genuine anti-bribery and anti-corruption policy. At this stage, the guidance becomes more detailed, what the full document needs to contain, how to frame expectations, and how to communicate the policy effectively to employees. You're given clear support on what good looks like, so you're not guessing or reinventing the wheel. From there, the third tier shifts the emphasis from documentation to implementation. This is where we help you put the operational controls behind the policy in place. Things like establishing a review cycle, or creating a simple way to record gifts and hospitality, ensuring staff receive appropriate training, and embedding the policy into day-to-day practice. At this level, the action plan also includes a self-audit guide so that you can check independently whether your documentation and evidence match the standards required for ESG frameworks, such as Ecovardis or B Corp. In particular, does the policy contain a statement on this, that, and the other? Many organizations already have fragments of these controls. The plan simply shows you how to organize and strengthen them so that they can pass an ESG audit confidently. We do also offer a policy template bundle at a small cost to help those that require or desire such resources. The same approach applies to environmental topics such as emissions. At the earliest stage, your actions may be as simple as gathering your energy bills, understanding what data you already have, and keeping everything in one place. You may be guided to run a basic energy review, make environmental commitments visible within your onboarding materials, or begin mapping your environmental impacts. These early steps prepare you for more formal calculations later, and they make it far easier for an external expert to support you if and when you choose to go deeper. The point of the action plan is not to overwhelm you with difficult tasks, but instead to give you a clear, manageable pathway that you can follow independently. Some businesses complete their first round of improvements within a matter of weeks because they're motivated or they're working to a deadline. Others prefer to move steadily over several months. Both approaches are completely valid. What matters is that you now understand how to build your ESG foundations in a structured, practical, and achievable way. And you're never left to do any of it alone. Every organization that completes the readiness assessment receives a consultation workshop where we will walk you through your action plan together. This is your space to ask questions, get clarification, and make sure that each step feels realistic for your business. If something doesn't quite fit your context, we can help adapt it for you. From there, you can repeat the assessment whenever you're ready, receive a fresh plan based on your new maturity levels, and continue climbing the tiers one step at a time. Or, if you're ambitious and want a roadmap from start to finish in a single sweep, we also offer a full-service version of this program. That option gives you a complete set of actions for every tier in one go, along with 2 additional workshops, one with our carbon team and one with our legal specialists, to help you overcome any barriers as you move from basic compliance to full ESG readiness. However you choose to approach it, the action plan ensures that progress is always possible, always practical, and always entirely within your control. From your perspective, the experience is calm and structured. You complete the assessment, we interpret the results, and you receive your action plan. Then we meet with you to support the implementation. And if you follow that plan over the coming weeks and months, you'll see your organization transform from unsure and reactive to well-structured and confident. For direct clients, This is your first step into ESG with real substance behind it. For suppliers, especially SMEs, the experience is often sponsored through our Social Value Sustainability Initiative Supply Chain Engagement Program, making it accessible and supportive. And for everyone, the benefit is the same: clarity, capability, and confidence. If I had to summarize the ESG Readiness Assessment in a single line, it is the clearest, simplest, and most supportive way to build strong, credible ESG foundations, preparing you for frameworks like Ecovardis and B Corp through practical steps that you can take one at a time. I hope that you'll be in touch. Thank you.